color this man father.
Color him father.
I think I'll color him love.
Color him love.
Said I'm gonna
Yes.
color him
So
father.
listen, tonight we have another episode of our Dad's podcast. Tonight I want to kind of elaborate on just a little more than what we have done in the past, because I want to make sure that you know what we're doing and how we got here. Tonight, for the last couple of episodes, we've interviewed fathers that have been in our class. And let me kind of tell you a little bit how that class evolved. I wrote a book in 2015 called DADS. And out of that book came my fathering experiences, right? I didn't know anything about it. I have, as you guys already know, I have 8 children by 5 different women. And I just wanted to tell my story. What I didn't realize, how similar my stories have been with other men in communities, particularly community of color, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so what we started doing is holding classes. In the last going on 5 years, there have been a lot of men taking these classes and graduating from these classes. And so I realized, and we do these classes on Wednesday. You know, we do them. We do 13 weeks of classes, and we do 2 13 weeks classes. Then we hold a graduation, right?
That's right.
And we found that to be very fitting for these fathers who are taking these classes, who put a lot of work and effort into wanting to build the relationship with their children, wanting to build their family, wanting to do all these things. And we realized that it was having an impact. It was making a difference in the lives of these men. So then, which I don't get too many of, I got a brainiac of an idea, and that was, why aren't we using some of the fathers in these classes and interviewing these guys and seeing what's on their heart, letting them speak about for themselves, right?
We got something to say.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's one of the themes of dads, that fathers always come through the doors saying, nobody hears me. Nobody's listening to me. And so if somebody says, what do we do at dads? That's what we do. We listen, right? Because when somebody is being heard, you have no clue how it empowers them, right? But I do, because somebody heard me, right? Somebody heard my cry in the wilderness, and I got my children back, right?
You walk in dads. It don't matter if there ain't no one here. The walls will hear you. This table will hear you.
I couldn't have said that better myself. Okay. So I want you to know. I want you to introduce yourself to the public, man.
My name is Eric Ross. I grew up in West Seattle, father of 2 beautiful daughters, Ella, 8, and Naya, 11. Hey, girls, if you're watching me, your daddy's doing good. I'm here. I was here on time.
Amen. Amen. You sure was. So I just wanted to give our audience an opportunity to know a little bit more than what I've done in the past, right? And I've asked Eric to be our person in the seat tonight. And so that's going to give you an opportunity to share. And I always start off with a question. Tell me your fathering story. That's the first question I ask with everybody. Now, that there's not a particular, just however you tell that fathering story. But what it does, it gives the audience an opportunity to hear from you. And my hope is that somebody in the audience said, man, you know what, that's what I'm going through. That's what I had to do, or that's how I was raised, or that's my fathering story, right? Because I think, to me, and I'll close with this, there's too many of us who have a voice, but the voice is not being heard. And it is my goal in life to give fathers a voice. And I think this is one of the ways to do it. So, Eric, that's the question I have for you. Tell your father's story.
All right. So my father was a drug dealer, went to prison when I was a baby, died in prison later on when I grew up, and I never got to meet him. I always heard about his hustle stories from the streets. I heard he was a good one. I heard he ran the streets like a maze and made a lot of money until he got caught. Growing up, I saw my dad in movies like Scarface. Tony Montana was my dad. Movies like New Jack City, Nino Brown was my dad. You know, I always wanted to be like the drug dealer in the movies because since I was a kid, that's all I heard about my dad. You know, even when he was in prison, people would get out of prison and tell me, man, we was locked up with your dad. He was a cold hustler behind the walls. That's who I always wanted to be. Then my daughters were born and the cycle continued. I became a father that was a drug dealer, that bought diapers and wipes with drug money. It wasn't up until recently that I got out the game because I fell in love with a girl who told me she would not have a kid with me if I was in that lifestyle. That's my father in experience.
Wow. Well, okay. So obviously you got out to life because you had 2 children. Tell me about that fathering experience.
Oh, well, I love my 2 daughters. Really cool girls. Ella, she's my best friend. Cool kid. Bunch of smiles, bunch of hugs. And my other daughter, Anaya, not really that close with her. I had her when I was really young, when I was in the streets, and her mother's family didn't accept what I was doing, so they X'd me out. So when I had my second daughter, I was like, you know what? I had a void in my heart from not being able to be around my first daughter. So when I had my second daughter, I told myself I put all of my energy into her. And that's what I do till this day. I give her all my love. I check on her as much as I can. And I go overboard. I really do. I try to get the extra credit when it comes to being a dad for her. I still do pray about my other daughter every single day. She's always on my heart. She's always in my heart. But being a dad is super cool. Being a father of 2 girls changed me. You know, I didn't grow up with the right tools, and I didn't grow up with the right systems in place to teach me how to treat women. I've hurt a lot of women, but I've never hurt my daughters. And I take pride in that. I really do.
You know, let me weigh in here a couple things. The attributes that you bring to your daughters, and I don't think men really know this, but the attributes that you bring to your daughters, some man is going to get the benefit of that one day, right? And so it behooves us to treat those queens. I have my 2 oldest daughters right now are in relationships, right? I never envisioned this or seen it coming, right? But I've been raised watching these babies grow up right before my very eyes. So, and these 2 daughters are 5 months apart, 2 different moms, right? But they're both in relationships, and they both are daddy's girls, right? And so these 2 gentlemen care deeply for these 2, and they both have children by them, right? One is getting ready to move to New York. So I have 2 daughters. One is Lyric and one is Devotion, and Devotion is getting ready to move to New York with her old man and their child. In fact, she's pregnant again, and she'll probably have that child in New York, right? But I like this guy. I really do. I mean, first came in, we had to play a little arm wrestle, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But I see that his heart is for her, right? I tell you, I just went through this incident the other day. I called him, I said, I know you guys getting ready to take a long trip. So I just asked one thing. I need you to take your car, put it in the shop, and I'll get it out. I want to make sure that you, the baby, and the pregnant mom, and you guys are safe driving across country.
Absolutely.
That's all I. Now, I didn't know how he was going to take this or whatever, but I know he's going across country because he has a residence that he can provide for my daughter and the children, and that'll make it a little easier for them, right?
Point A to B sounds like they're real close.
Yes.
But it could be really far from each other.
No question. You know what I mean? So guess what? He put the car in the shop, and I came home yesterday, and or it must have been a couple days ago, and he was really quiet. And I said, put the car in the shop. I said, I'll get it out. He said, well, Mr. Charles, I'll pay half of it, right? He just said that. I didn't ask him that, but that's what he said. So he said, can I talk to you about this bill? I said, certainly. Come on, let's go downstairs. And I have a split level house, so the man cave is downstairs, so that's where we go. Okay. So he's looking at the paperwork, and he's handling it to me, and he said, this is pretty expensive. It's like almost $1,500, right? And I could tell that was bothering him. You know what I mean? Like, and I said to myself, no, I'm this. The reason I ask you this, because the thing that should bother you the most is you traveling across country with this family of yours. You shouldn't be worried about, at least this is taken care of. This is done. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what I was concerned about. I've been across country, driven across country a bunch of times, right? I know that anything could happen that could cause you and your family their lives, and we ain't going to let that be the reason. So there's no price to put on that, right?
100%.
You know what I mean? But I know he's young, so he's trying to figure out, man, I said, listen, man, check this out. You said you wanted to cover half of it. I'll give you this. He said, no, I do want to do half. Now, that showed me the sincerity in him right then and there. I said, well, okay, here's $700. He said, you know what? I feel like I need to give you $500 back, and then you just sit on it. So if I get somewhere and I need something. See, this is the kind of understanding that I need to have with this man who's driving off with my daughter. You feel what I'm saying? And my grandchildren, right?
Oh, yeah.
That to me, that's well worth it, right?
That experience is valuable.
Come on, man. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm just glad today that I can cherish that. There was something in my journey up to this point that gave me the ability to have that kind of relationship with him.
But the level of concern he showed basically just sold you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Exactly.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it could have happened a bunch of other ways.
Oh, it could have.
You could have had a man with your daughter who said, you know what, ain't no other man paying his bill, right? Even if he didn't have the money to pay for the car himself.
Right.
Or you could have had another man that said, you know what, I'm not going to listen to him. I'm not going to take it to the shop.
Right.
Or you could have had another man that said, you know what, go ahead, pay it all. And just been taking it out your pocket.
And you're absolutely right.
And ain't none of those men bad men.
Well, here's what I'm saying. I've worked up to that point. Okay, wasn't just made. No.
You was sprinkling.
No. We worked on this for a period, right? When he first came to the door, okay, all right. You know, we had some arm wrestling that we done. But I'm confident now, because this was an idea that's been simmering for a couple of years, right? But I just watched how he did it. He went and jumped on a fishing boat and went to Alaska and fished and came back with his paycheck and provided for my daughter. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And so I now I have to sit down and have the conversation with my daughter. Listen, I watched him lose quite a bit providing for you. So it's no question he's invested. Now you got to be just as invested. And right now, as I tell the fathers in the class, it's what I've told him, and now I'm telling my daughter. Your role right now is to be a provider for your children while he goes off and do what he does, right? Make sure you maintain it. I think my wife and I set an example for our children as far as the understanding, right? Although there's times I wonder, right? You know what I mean? But no, I think that she's made an excellent choice. And that goes the same for my daughter, Lyric. She has a young man that got out of prison, and he sat down with me. He said, Mr. Charles, if you can help me get a job, I promise you I will never let that job go. Now, he didn't owe me that. He didn't have to tell me that. But I got him a job. And I would check in with him. So, how's the job? He said, Mr. Charles, I told you, I ain't finna let this, right?
I know that's right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like he didn't owe me that, right? I'm not foolish enough to really hold somebody to something unless they desire to want to hold themselves to it. There's a big difference there.
He wanted to earn your trust.
You see what I'm saying?
100%.
Well, he did. He did. I gotta give it to him. He did. They've had a child. She had one, then they had another one together, and I watched how he's provided. I watched how he's changed residence and tried to, and is still providing what he's doing. And some of the attributes that I see both of these men go through, I've been through myself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially when you got multiple children.
Hello.
You know what I mean? There's a whole dynamic in that alone. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm watching these brothers navigate those waters, man. So I'm just saying that I want to make my life relevant to the men in these classes, right? Why? Because there are times that they will go through some waters, and we need to be able to talk about it, share these experiences. That's what this podcast is about, to be able to sit down and chop it up and share our experiences, you know? And if you guys feel like, Mr. Charles, I want to ask you a question. What was this experience like? I need to be available for that.
For sure. So I was going through it with my baby's mom, and I just kind of felt like I was running in circles. I walked in here one day asking questions about what this program was for, and they sat me down and let me watch your story. There was a video on YouTube of your life story. And the lights turned on, the video ended, and a man named Greg, he said, did you relate to any of that? And it hadn't been, there had never been a time in my life where I actually had thought about the abuse I went through growing up, you know? And it's wild because, you know, it's real hard to exist in isolation. You know, it's, your problems will be there, but your friends won't.
Yes.
Your family members won't. The support won't be there.
Yes.
And it's tough because you think, you know, I'm going to just keep all this shit to myself. I ain't going to tell nobody my dirty laundry. I ain't going to lift that rug. I ain't going to share my secrets. I ain't going to tell nobody what I did because you think people going to point the finger at you. You think they're going to laugh at you. You know, they might manipulate you, blackmail you, blast you on Facebook, Instagram. I know they're doing that these days. But it's wild because, you know, when you get that shit off your chest, man, it's lighter. You know, I come with a lot of baggage, you know, and I get in that elevator sometimes. I come up here and I'm like, man, I don't really want to check in. I don't really want to share, you know, because I carry around a whole lot of weight of regret, bad choices, whole lot of shit. But what I do notice about this class is that when I leave that room and I go back down that elevator, those bags are lighter. And I remember watching your video and you were sharing about your pain. And it was like, I was like, okay, this is a place I can come to and share my pain with others. And it feels really good, so I really appreciate you.
Hey, man, you just gave me what would be equivalent to a gold medal, right? Because I just don't want nobody else to feel like I felt. You know what I mean? Growing up, being a father, I don't want nobody. That's the whole reason why I do what I do, because I don't want nobody. We don't have to feel like that. You feel what I'm saying? And then here's the next thing. And then I want you to pass that on.
Man, this is real. Whoever's watching this is real. I know I'm in here with him right now, but 10 minutes ago we was in another room, and he came in with his business cards with his personal number on it, and he handed it to everyone in the class. He just sat him on the table. Everyone grabbed him. Everyone in the room got his personal cell phone number. His phone's probably ringing right now. Real dude. Real dude. I can't make it up.
Yeah. Hey, man, check this out. Thank you, man. I just wanted to steal some minutes of your time.
For sure.
We got to do this again because I want to
Absolutely.
know what it's like after the class is over with.
100%.
Right? You know what I mean?
100%.
I want to see what you got.
This ain't it. I'm growing up. I'm elevating. All right? Catch me next season.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right,
I
Marvin.
appreciate you, my brother. All right. All right, man.
Before
Eric.
before we end,
Uh-huh.
you should quickly just say what brought you to the class, just so when we do the next episode,
Okay.
we have some comparison,
Okay.
if you don't mind sharing.
For sure. Man, it's real hard out here for these black men. I'm one of them. I know what it is. It takes a plan. It takes power. It takes tools. You know? I've been through a lot in life. And at the end of the day, I've been able to hold on to my kindness. That's my power. This class is going to teach me how to utilize that kindness on my own behalf to help others. You know, because I've always just used it as a survival tactic for myself. And at times I forgot about those around me. So I really want to learn how to share my story like you did. To help people just like you. You know, that's my gold medal. My gold medal is to learn about how you got in this position to help all these other men. And I don't care if I only help one or two of them. You've helped hundreds, maybe thousands. But if I could just learn and sit down and be like, damn, this worked for me, from you. Now let me do it to someone else out there. That's my gold medal. All right? My silver medal is just to make it to the graduation. All right? And my bronze medal is to just be here on time and learn. All right?
Hey, well, let me tell you something. Here's the platinum.
Talk about it.
There's a platinum.
All right now.
And the platinum is if you just sow into your kids.
Oh, yeah.
All these other things will happen automatically,
For sure.
right?
For sure. I
Because
can't.
somebody gonna come to you and say, man, I remember when you was, how did you do it?
Oh, yeah. The plan is for me to mend relationships with my daughter's mothers. You know, to get some real tools that I didn't get from my father. You know, to really just to get a system that's created here that I could use out there on being a father. You know, because it's tough, and didn't nobody teach me how to do it. And that might be the reason why I got here. The reason why I'm here right now is because I didn't have these tools. All right? So I'm going to get back in that class right now to learn them.
Amen.
I got to go.
Amen.
I got to go.
I got you, man. I appreciate you. You have no idea, man.